Hi guys, I'm Sneha and you are watching my channel Book Junction. Welcome to part 2 of our Q&A, and in this video I will answer the rest of the questions that I couldn't cover in the part 1. Buying fancy stationery is good or bad? So this is a really good question and I wanted to address it. No, fancy stationery is not something that you absolutely need. So the thing is, if you are a good artist, you can create everything by your own hand. Like you can sketch it, you can paint it. But for people who are not really good at art but they want to create art, so these fancy stationeries are for them. So if you are good at doodling, you can definitely doodle with your pencil also, right? But for someone who is not good with doodling but they want to create a bullet journal, so for them there are stamps and there are these fancy washi tapes and all of that, so they can create something creative, interesting, beautiful, even if they don't have those artistic skills. Today we live in a very stressful world and sometimes art is a solace, it's a place of comfort. Sometimes you can definitely splurge on some stationery that will help you to create something beautiful, like washi tapes, stamps and all of those things. So yes, that's the whole point. You don't really need it, but you can want it. The next question is, how are you so consistent in creating content for YouTube? Need some tips for that. Thank you so much. So what I do is I plan the next 5 videos and I also have like a master list. So there is this video master list where I write all my video ideas. Like whenever I receive any video idea or you guys have suggested me something, I write it over there and then eventually I plan my next 5 videos. So I go through the list and see that which video I can work right now, and if I have the bandwidth, that if I have the time, because a lot of times you have other things to do as well and maybe I cannot invest a lot of time in this particular video. So according to that I plan my next 5 videos and I try to stick to them. So that's how I stay consistent, and I post weekly and I have kept my expectations pretty average. I try to post 1 video every week, and if I can post multiple, then that's a great thing, but try to post 1 video every week, and that's how you can stay consistent without feeling like you are not doing anything. Next question is, how did you realize that copywriting is something you want to do professionally? Now, copywriting was not something that I planned on to do, but it just happened to me. I started with content writing because I used to write stories, and from there I thought that I can definitely write some formal content as well. So I started writing content and eventually I got an opportunity through a client to start copywriting, and that particular client also kind of mentored me and guided me in the copywriting journey. So she taught me a lot, and eventually I also invested some time online to research about copywriting and learned a few tips here and there. So there was not any certain point when I realized I wanted to do it, I just landed upon it. How you manage everything so efficiently and how you speak English so fluently, any tips on it? Love you, Deepti. Thank you so much, Tulika. Lots of love to you. I manage everything, like, of course there are days when I'm all over the place, but I try to plan everything. I try to plan everything before. When it comes to speaking fluently, I just want you to know that a lot of people who speak fluently are not always grammatically correct. Like even me, a lot of times we frame really wrong sentences and we deliver it with confidence, and it's okay if it's not grammatically right. So speaking, like, the more you speak the language, the better you get at it. So YouTube has really helped me with that because I'm constantly making videos in this particular language, so it's only natural that I have become fluent, but it doesn't mean that I'm always grammatically right. The next question is, if I start a YouTube channel, will I be able to earn enough to pay my bills? Initially you won't. Firstly, your channel has to be monetized, of course, but even after getting monetized, you don't earn that much revenue that you will be able to pay all of your bills, but eventually you will be able to do that. So I mean, it depends on the bill, how much you spend. Next question is, when are you getting married? Very soon. Have you read The Maidens? I know you hated Silent Patient, just asking. No, I haven't read it yet, but I'm planning to read it. The next question is by Aditya Jaiswal, and it's a really big question. Like, I read the entire thing, so thank you so much for writing it. I am skipping to the question part for the video. So the question is, do we really need friends, and what do we need friends for? Now, I always say this thing that your teenage years are the most strange years of your life. Of course, things are different for different people, but I'm sharing from my own experience. Contrary to the belief that your teenage years are your best years, and terms like sweet 16 and all of that, it makes you think that okay, these are your best years, and whatever you need to do right now, because after that you will be in a job and you will be working. So how will you do the things that you love? And this is the time when you achieve things, and this is the time when you establish the base of your empire, and this is the time when you do all these adventures, have different kind of experiences. All of that is just a bunch of BS, because trust me, that's not how things work. Life is not ideal, and it's not always going to be in your favor, right? And when it comes to friends, do we really need friends? I have two answers for this: yes and also no. I have seen this thing that teenage is the time when you will go through this phase of loneliness. I think loneliness is the first strong feeling that you have to overcome, and after that there will come a lot of other crises. But loneliness is the first big thing that you have to sort of battle in your teenage. And when you are a kid, when you are a child, you don't really think about loneliness. Even if you are alone, you find something to play with. But when you become a teenager and as you grow up, you realize that there is this loneliness. You see all of these weird dark things happening in the world, and for a few years you are really down in the bottom and you feel all these overwhelming feelings. And this is going to happen. This happens to a lot of people. So first of all, you're not alone in this. You have a lot of other people who feel the same as you. Now, of course, we are all social beings, and when we are around people and when we have our own people, like a group of friends, it makes us feel safe. It makes us feel like we belong somewhere, and it's a warm feeling. I would not lie, it definitely is a warm feeling. But a lot of us are not capable of going out of our comfort zone and make friends, and that's completely fine. Like, it's totally okay if you're not a social person. It's totally okay if you don't have friends. Having friends is not going to solve your problems. Having friends will not solve your problem of loneliness. And I have realized that a lot of times we are just spiritually so empty that we are looking for people to fill that void. I don't mean anything religious. I mean that we aren't listening to our thoughts. We aren't aware of what exactly do we want. So you don't really need friends. But if you have a friend, it's always a good thing. I would say that just make one good friend. Invest your time in one good person. And I think that is all. But it's okay if you don't find anyone like that. The question that why do we need friends, it's really subjective. Different people need friends for different things. But mostly you need a friend so that you can share your feelings, so that you don't feel alone, so that you have someone who understands you, who you can relate with. I think this is the basis of a friendship: relatability. You both can be from very different culture, tradition, community, everything. If you can relate with each other on a certain thing, then that is the connection that you're looking for. So yes, having friends is an incredible thing. But if you don't have friends, it's not like it's the end of the world. The problem is that the movies that we watch, they have always fed us with this very unrealistic standard that you should always have amazing friends, and you should always have a bunch of friends, and laugh around and just do this and do that. And it can be a little intimidating because maybe you don't have that. It's okay if you don't have friends. You have you, and you are the most permanent person in your life. The next question is, what is the one thing you would say to your younger self advice? I would ask my younger self to start reading non-fiction, self-help, autobiographies and all of that, because I started reading self-help in 2019 January, and ever since then I've seen my life change. I was a completely different person before that, and I can see that I have completely changed. And all the good things that have happened to me today, it has happened because I read those books. I made sure that I took those lessons and applied them in my real life, and I made the changes. So yes, just read those amazing books. You really need them. Next question is, taking you in the consideration, what is the most proudest moments for your parents? I've seen your father commenting on your YouTube videos. So honestly speaking, I'm very blessed when it comes to my parents, because they are extremely supportive and they are usually very proud of me. Like, I don't have to achieve something crazy, or I don't have to do something extraordinary for them to feel proud of me. They are always really proud of me. I think whenever I post a good video, when it's a really well shot, aesthetic and well edited video, it makes my parents really proud of me. And your comments, like, trust me, reading the comments section is something that is highly celebrated at our place. We all read all the comments. My mom reads all the comments, my dad reads all the comments. Sometimes he goes back to some videos and reads those comments. So yes, it's your comments that makes him really proud, because honestly it's the direct feedback that I'm getting, and if you like my videos and if you appreciate it, that's what makes him the happiest. Who supported you the most in your YouTube journey? Well, my parents, my mom and my dad. They have been my ultimate support system. They have always given me ideas. They have always supported me through bad days. They have always gave me hope that yes, one day I will get what I want, and they have been there. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now without the help and without the support of my parents. So yes, I am extremely grateful for my parents. I wouldn't be able to do anything without them. They are my ultimate support system. And of course, you guys, if you guys hadn't subscribed, if you guys hadn't commented on my videos and made me believe that my content is worth watching, I wouldn't be doing this. So you guys, my parents, and of course my fiance. Next question is, I want to start a booktube channel, any tips? My only tip is to start right now. Just start your channel, make the first video and eventually improve, and that's the only tip. Which is your favorite song? I don't really have a particular favorite song. I'm more into instrumental music. Music is really calming for me. I don't particularly enjoy songs. The next question is, do you suffer overthinking from reading books as well? I do. Reading, especially non-fiction and philosophy, gives me satisfaction, clarity and perspective, but at the same time makes me think about things even more, contributes sometimes to my anxiety. I do relate to this. I really do. Of course, there are times when I read a book and I'm like, what? Now I have to think about this also. And a lot of times when you're reading a self-help book, it's like the book is placing you at the place where you have to be responsible for a lot of things, and you're like, okay, but everyone is living their life the way they want to, and I have to be the one who thinks about everything. But that's the whole point of reading books, because it expands your horizons. It makes you see those things that other people won't. It makes you aware, and awareness means that there's going to be some anxiety, there's going to be some disturbance and discomfort, because of course you were blind to a certain thing, but now you are aware of it and it's going to bother you. So I think that's the price, that's the cost we pay for being aware and to live a better life. So yes, initially when I was reading a bunch of non-fiction books that were based on stoicism and all of that, I was like, I can't do this. I just cannot always be the one who takes the responsibility. But at the end of the day, that's what you can do. That's all you can do. So yes, sometimes reading these books can cause you some discomfort, but that temporary discomfort will give you way many more advantages in the future. So if that's a silver lining for you, just hold on to that and keep reading. The next question is, how was your childhood, and share something which gives you anxiety or stress. My childhood was a combination of good, bad, really bad and good. I cannot share everything because like for privacy, but yes, there were really bad days and then there were also good days. So I would say that I'm not a fan of my childhood. I think it was fine, it was there, but right now I am at a better place. I love my life today. I don't want to go back to my childhood. I do not reminisce my childhood as much. I'm fine now, and I think that my future is going to be better than my childhood. So that's what. And what gives me anxiety and stress? Well, sometimes I overthink some things, like maybe future or maybe work. sometimes sometimes you just have a lot of things that you are thinking about. So yes, overthinking gives me anxiety and stress, nothing else. The next question is one non-fiction book that everyone should read. I think any book by Ryan Holiday, but Ego is the Enemy is an amazing book. I keep reading that book over and over again. Or you can also pick the book The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It's a great book for you. It's about stoicism, but it's also very realistic and something that you can apply to your day-to-day life. So Ego is the Enemy or The Daily Stoic, these two books are amazing non-fiction reads that everyone should read, because it will actually help you a lot in different aspects of your life. Next question is, please tell your dream lifestyle. Also make more videos on journaling. I love your videos. Fan from Maharashtra. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. So my dream lifestyle is where I am like completely financially secure, stable and free. When I say financial security, I don't mean that I need $1 million to be that, but whatever my expenses are and whatever I want to do, I get to do that. Plus I am a very minimal person and I don't need a lot of stuff to make me happy. Like, of course you guys see me buy stuff when it comes to books, stationery and home decor, but you will also see that I keep wearing the same clothes over and over again. I don't invest any money on clothes, almost never. Festivals are a different thing, but otherwise I really never purchase a lot of clothes. I keep repeating my clothes. I rarely buy shoes or anything fancy. So my spending is pretty much limited to books, stationery and home decor. So of course home decor is going to last me a really long time, so I'm not going to keep investing there. So my expenses aren't crazy because they are limited to a certain aspect of my life. And books and stationery are also investments for my channel as well, because my channel revolves around art and stationery and books, so it's also an investment for me. So I would say that my dream lifestyle is the one where my mental health is always at optimum, which is of course not always attainable, but I would say that 80% of the time I should be functioning on my optimum mental health. And other than that, as I said, I should be financially secure. And yes, that's all. I'm from Mumbai and following your channel since long time. Thank you so much. So she has 3 questions. Which is your favorite but underrated book? So when I read the book No Time for Goodbye by Linwood Barclay, and I saw that it doesn't have a fan base as such, and when I saw that people are not crazy about that book, I was really heartbroken, because trust me, it is one of the greatest books that I read in the last 1 year. It's crazy and I recommend this book to everyone. It's one of the best thrillers ever. It will keep you on the edge, and by the end you will be exhausted because so much has happened, but you will read it in one sitting. It's quite a thick book, but it's such a page turner. To answer the next question, I think I would like to meet Benjamin Alire Sanz, because I really love his books and I feel like his characters are so enduring. Please share with us a life lesson you got after reading a particular scene from any book. The book by Brené Brown, Gifts of Imperfection, this whole thing about living a wholehearted life where you need to be heard, seen and be your authentic self to live your best life. I really learned something from there, and that whole book, like I've learned so much from that book. So yes, I highly recommend that. Your role model. My role model, my inspiration is Satyajit Ray. As I told you that I want to be a filmmaker one day, and yeah, Satyajit Ray is my role model. He is also the wallpaper of my laptop, so he's everywhere. Alright guys, so those were all the questions that I could manage to answer, and I'm really sorry if I couldn't answer your question. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, then definitely consider subscribing, hit the like button and also on the bell icon so you do not miss any of my future uploads. And I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.